Alright, so I'm going to work through the first part of our our cursive handwriting packet, okay? So I'm going to move the camera and probably mess around with it a little bit so that way you can see what I'm doing, okay? So you should have, sorry, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. You should have picked up this packet by now. If you have not, then you need to get in touch with me so that way we can sheesh, that's not helping at all now, is it? There we go, that's what I want. I am so sorry about all of that. Let's start over again. Okay, so this is going to be the packet. If you haven't picked it up, then you better get in touch with me so that way we can, okay? So the first page basically goes over some important vocabulary words, all right? So we're going to kind of skip over that because I want to just show you our warm-up, okay? So we've got lowercase warm-up, all right? So the first thing is we've got some L's, okay? We're not actually L's. We have some vertical lines. Notice how they're slightly slanted. They are not so slanted that they're diagonal, but they're slightly slanted. We're going to start at the bottom, and we're going to work our way up. Bottom, up. I'm using a pen so you can see me. Feel free to use a pencil. All right? I'm not going to go through clear to the end because I don't want to make this video super, super long, but I want you to go clear through to the end. If you need to hit pause and finish, then hit pause and finish. 2 is a similar line. Notice it has a little bit more of a curve, and it's staying at the X height. The X height is that space between those two dotted lines. So we go shoop, shoop. Now I know this is like, oh, we can go through this really fast and get it done. But it's important that we go slowly and that we are really practicing getting those to touch the bottom and the top and doing it neatly. The third one is basically that same line, but this time instead of curving up, instead of curving down, we're going to curve up. All right, so again, starting at the bottom, shoop, shoop. Okay, this is getting us ready for some of our lowercase letters. All right, now we have this kind of upside down letter U shape. Okay, making it touch the top and the bottom of the X height is very important. All right, this shape gets used a lot. And if I need to practice some more, I can practice some more in between. Oh, that one I didn't quite touch the top. All right, but touch the top, touch the top, touch the top, touch the top. Okay, then we have the opposite of that. All right. Hey, oops, and see that one? I went down below the line. I don't want to do that. Slow down. Pay attention, Miss Brocay. What are you showing them? You're showing them how to do it neatly. Okay? Then we have, this is basically a cursive I. All right? It doesn't have its dot, but that's what it is. So we start at the bottom. We go up to the top of the X height. We go down, and then we go back here. Bottom up. Repeat the line. Back there. Bottom up. Repeat the line and back. Okay, so you go back over where you were to make this shape. All right. Now we have this kind of sideways looking letter S almost, okay? This comes in handy for making the letter U and the letter V and the letter W and the letter Y. All right, so we start at the bottom, we curve around. We're kind of joining this shape and this shape. Or this shape from number 4 and this shape from number 6. So start at the bottom, we go up and we go down. Bottom, up and down. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right, you're trying to keep it nice and uniform into how much space because that's going to be the key when writing cursive. Number 8 is these O shapes. They're not quite as round as when we did calligraphy, and they're kind of slanted. I have a hard time getting them more slanted unless I trace over them, just because with calligraphy I'm so used to them being more rounded because we want it round. All right, then we have this, we have 3 E's actually. So we start at the bottom, we go up, and we loop around, bottom, 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 loop around. Okay? And we have 3 L's together. Start at the bottom, loop up, touch the top and down, bottom loop up, touch the top and down. Okay? I mean, I could do this really fast, but it might not look very nice. Normally we don't have 3 L shapes together, but we're practicing this curving line, which is used quite a bit. And then we have, basically it's a cursive J, but we don't have the dot. We also use this kind of shape also for other letters. So here they don't have the tail, but on their printing it does. So it goes down, up, and do. I always go down like this. All right. And then we have this little, sorry, my computer is in my way. I can't slide this up any farther. This little circle-y, the half circle thing that's hanging up at the top of the X height. This comes in handy for the letter V and the letter W. It's also used in the ascender area for some of our capital letters, okay? So that's that. If you haven't finished that, hit pause and finish this. Okay, now we have a spacing exercise, N and U. So we're going to come down here, got an N, and got a U. N, U. N, Okay, so the idea is that you're keeping your space pretty consistent. Now if I turn this upside down, I still look like I have some, now it kind of looks like I have M's and U's, but I still have kind of that N and U. See how it's it looks the same, it's just kind of reversed. Okay, because my U became my N and my N became my U. See that? It's going to be magic here too. We've got an ascender and a descender, an H and a Y. Start at the bottom, we loop it around just like for the L, and then we're going to trace it back around. Okay, so start at the bottom, curve up for the top, around, make sure you're touching your X height. Okay, again, if I turn this upside down, my Y's will become H's and my H's will become Y's. Pretty good. Pretty good. Isn't that cool? All right. Now, we have a loopy exercise, which is E and L. The reason we're doing this is because an E, it's basically just a squashed little version of the L. And if we make our E too tall, it's going to look like an L. And if we make our L too short, it's going to look like an E. And then nobody's going to know what we're writing. Okay, so it's important that we keep our E touching the X height and our L touching the ascender line. Or I can't remember what the vocabulary word is right now. It's escaping my mind. and talking while doing this is not an easy thing. So I highly recommend you practice this quietly. Okay? This does not make anything if you turn it upside down. Okay? But E's and L's, if we squash it or make it too tall, we're going to have the opposite letter. Now, we have letters that are grouped together. Lowercase, they're calling them families. So we have wavy letters, round letters, loopy letters, odd cousins. Odd cousins are letters that nobody else really looks like them. These are like our R's and our S and our X and our Z. All right, and then we have loopy variations, which the variations, I mean, yeah, that's nice, but we're not so worried about that. So I'm going to go through quickly how to make these letters. Page 44 and 45, you're going to turn in. So let's look at these quickly. I. Start at the bottom, go to the top. This was a practice, okay? Now, normally when writing, you would not dot the I right now. You would write the whole word and then you'd come back and you dot the I. So there's the I. The T is our shortest ascender, just like when it was in calligraphy. We're making basically an elongated I and then we cross it. Don't loop it. If you loop it, you might think it's an L and then you spell the word wrong because you make it an L instead of a T. All right? Or if you make it too short, you'll think it's an I and then you'll dot it instead of giving it a cross. All right? Some people get going really fast and they do end up with a loop, but hopefully they know how to spell and they know it needs to be a T. All right, so now we have the letter M. I know it looks kind of weird. We're going to go 3 humps basically. My M's look more like this usually. That's a Miss Broquet variation right there. That one, that's a Miss Broquet. All right, now we have an N. It's basically the same thing, only instead of going back up for a 3rd hump, we're going to give it a tail back towards the top. These are important because it's going to connect it to other letters. So it's important that we practice it having a tail, so that way we know what we're going to do if we need to connect it. Then we have a letter U, which again is very similar to the letter N, only we're giving it one less hump. So there, we did that for M, we did that for N, now we're going to go this way. Okay? All right, a V. Notice here's that little hooky thing. All right, start out off just the same way, and this time hook. Start off hook. Okay, so it's like the letter U, only we're gonna give it a hook. Sorry, I forgot what letter I was making there. Okay, the W is the U and the V together. There's the letter U. Now we have a W. A letter U. We go back down and we get a letter V. That was not a good one. Let's try that again. Maybe if I don't talk. Beautiful. Okay, Miss Broquet cannot talk and write. That's a bad one. That's yucky. Now we have a Y. Again, look, we have the letter U, and now we're giving it that tail that we were practicing in the warm-up that looked like a letter J. Well, I know it looks like a letter J because I've done cursive before. And now we have a Y. And now we have a Y. Okay? Then there's variations. I'm not necessarily worried about those. You can try them if you want to. All right? Now we have A, C, D, G, Q, O, and P. All right, so A, bottom. You're going to come back about halfway, and you're going to Now my A's tend to be more rounded because in calligraphy, my A's had to be rounded, okay, because that was how we did it in calligraphy. So I have a hard time making them quite so pointy unless I'm tracing over it, okay. Right, so A's. C, very similar to the A, only instead of going back up here to touch it, you're just going to, okay? And yes, I make lots of noises like that. Okay, C. D. We start at the bottom, we go up, we make an A, and instead of going back down, we're going to go up into the A center height, and we're going to go, okay? So we make the letter A, we continue up into the A center, and we go down. It's an A, it's a D, it's a C, it's an A, it's a D, okay? This is a G, okay? This is a G. All right, so we start with our the taily thingy so we can connect it. We make an A, and now we're going to drop down, and we're going to give it that J shape, okay, that line that we practiced. Okay, you see how we're connecting that together for the practice? Okay, this is a Q. Did you know that? Yep, it's a Q. The difference between these two is look where the circle is. Look where the loop is down here. So we have our A, and then we drop down, and we're going to put the loop on the other side. Okay, this should come down and touch here. All right, they should touch the bottom, sorry. I'm letting my bad habits show you. O. So we start at the bottom, we've got our, and then we're going to loop back through a little bit. Sometimes, and if you look at the variations, my O's are more like this usually, okay? But this is the proper way to do it. All right? So that's an O. I think that one's easy to figure out. This is a P. It's a P. So we go up and down and repeat the line and loop. Up and down, repeat the line and loop. That was a bad letter P. My P's usually look like this. Okay? But these are more fancy and more fun. That's just kind of like a everyday P. Okay, so my P looks more kind of like this without quite as long of a tail. So, 45, this page, and 44, the page before, you're going to turn in for me to be able to see. So, I want you to work on those two and get them turned in to me, and then we will move on from there.